Hello, so I hope you can see this book that I'm holding up. I'm about to start reading it. It's called Painkiller. It's about a hockey player named Brantt Myhres. I must confess I never heard of the guy until I saw an advertisement for his book. I watched a little few-minute interview that he did with a gentleman about the book, so it looks like a good read. I guarantee you this is something you won't hear on Coach's Corner or Don Cherry's Grapevine podcast that he does, because it talks about something that's real and it's honest, and it's although it has to do with fighting. This guy was an enforcer in the NHL. Don won't talk about anything that has to do with the dark side of hockey, which is those enforcers having to take painkillers so they can get back out on the ice the next night. It is a brutal part of sport which I never took part in. I did grow up watching Philadelphia Flyers and the Broad Street Bullies, but I never knew the inside stories about what's going on now. So the general topic I want to talk about in this video is that we should all stop watching sports. Not completely, but I'll tell you some of my reasons. And let's start with some of the things in the news. Japan just announced today that, or it might have been yesterday, that they will no longer allow sports into the Olympics that they're holding in July and August. Now, when I was in Japan, I knew that they weren't going to hold the Olympics in 2020. I could just see it, and of course I was right. And now, about a couple months ago, they were so embarrassed they were going to cancel the Olympics, but somebody leaked it out into the news, and so to try to save face, they want to go ahead and hold the Olympics. Now they're going to try to do it without fans, which to me defeats the whole purpose of the Olympics. Now, I've never been a proponent of the Olympics. I think it's long past its due date. We should cancel the Olympics altogether. But if you are going to hold the Olympics, it must be with fans. So I think they should go ahead and cancel the Olympics altogether. That's my proposal. If they're not going to do that, I think we should all boycott the Olympics by not watching it or not sending our athletes. And certainly the same applies to the 2022 Olympics in Beijing. This is something that, given all the drama, should not go ahead at all. Now, as far as the Olympics, they've been a big waste of money. You could see when Greece held them, the amount of the money they spend to house the athletes, to do all the infrastructure, it is just not worth it. It's become a big cash cow that has turned into a white elephant. There's no way these Olympics should continue. I met a guy who worked for the Olympics when I was vacationing. I think it was in, I can't remember now. I met him just at poolside. We got into a huge debate. He got a grant to work for the Olympics, and we got into this huge debate about the Olympics. It was classic. I wish we had have taped it. Then there's the downside of soccer. There was a video, which I'll put a link into it, yesterday, of a soccer player named Kamar Roof, who, going after the ball, and the goalie was going after the ball too, he put up his cleat and he damaged this poor goalie so bad that he's going to have surgery, and it was just brutal. Now, someone will say, well, that's just part of football, but there's become too many of these incidents, especially in soccer, where people are getting hurt. For what? The goalie had the ball all along. He had no chance of even getting it, but he put up his cleat and thought, if you're going to go for the ball, you're going to get punished. This has gone far beyond fair play. Much much like Pete Rose in the All-Star game, running over the catcher, leaving him virtually unconscious. It was just terrible. So this type of thing has gone and destroyed what the purpose of the game was. Now, the purpose of the game, I happened to do a little research years ago when I was in university about the purpose of sports. And one of the university men's basketball coaches from Iowa, he did a whole research paper on sports and its purpose. It was for fun and whatnot. And sports has long past gone past this. It is no longer fun. It is no longer a pastime. It's all about big money. And so I think it's lost its usefulness. We now have Title IX in the U.S. Women have to be equal to the men. And a girl yesterday did a video showing the difference of the weight rooms. The girls' weight room had one machine, and the men's room took up 3 or 4 rooms of weight. So Title IX has become a joke, but it's not equal. Men and women are not equal. I will not watch one single game of women playing whatever sport just because it's not exciting. They're not like the men. Some people like them. Most men and most women even don't. It's a very marginal type of people who will watch women's sports, whatever they may be. As far as the refs, umpires, linesmen, they've become so uppity. They're giving technicals in basketball if you even look at them or pass them back the ball. Linesmen won't drop the puck until you... Don Cherry does a great thing on this. You know, me, linesman, I'm a big guy. You have to respect me and whatnot. I just think this has become... It's no longer fun. It's too serious, too technical. Now, as far as politics in sports, you have the soccer players who are taking a knee before the game. Only one black player, I think it was in the Premier League, he chose not to take a knee, and he got castigated for this. Why aren't you taking a knee? Do you not respect the players? So it's become the politics of wokeism and Black Lives Matter has creeped into sports now, and now you can't find a game without people taking a knee. South Park did a hilarious bit on this, that all the parents came to watch the girls' volleyball game, waiting to see if the girls were gonna take a knee before the game, and the announcers went on and on about they took a knee, and after they took a knee, then the parents all left the game. They weren't there to see the girls play. They were just there to see if someone was going to take a knee. So it's become beyond ridiculous. Now, as far as steroids has creeped into sports, and now they seem to be everywhere. Mariana from the show Trafficked did an episode on steroids. I'll put a link in. I highly recommend you watch it. The guys are in the gyms now, and everybody's taking steroids. And so now you don't know any athlete who doesn't take steroids, from Lance Armstrong to any sport. It certainly gives you an edge, but if you're taking steroids, you are, I don't want to call you an idiot, but you are just taking your life into your hands by taking steroids. And then there's cheating electronically in the Olympics. There was a podcast that did this with the fencers. Someone got into the website of the Olympics, and so someone pretended to make a fencing move, and the other guy who had the machine recorded it as a strike even though it wasn't. So there's cheating in sports all the time, everywhere. Now, as far as a movie, I just watched last night a movie called Operation Varsity Blues. It's about the college admission scandal with Matthew Modine, who I love. I've loved everything he's been in, and he's been in a few recently, and it was really good. About Rick Singer. Matthew portrays Rick Singer and getting people in college through the side door. I highly recommend you watch that. Sports has become a joke, so I used to love sports. I no longer watch sports, except for the odd thing here and there. But it certainly has lost its luster. It's no longer fun. It's now too big and too professional, and everyone's too serious about it. So I hope you take the opportunity to find something else to do with your time. Read a book. Do something else. But sports has become a big waste of time, especially the Super Bowl. It takes about 4 hours to watch something for about 10 minutes of action. It's no longer worth the time to watch sports. Even Don Cherry could not disagree with that. Okay, so I'll wrap it up there. Thanks for listening.